Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Keul with Agri Supply. Today we're going to offer you some tips on things to look for and when you need to make a decision of whether or not to replace your disc blades. Let's mention the 4 things you need to look for when replacing your blades. Diameter, hole size, the concavity or the dish, and the thickness of the blade. First, let's talk about blade diameter. Let's just say your harrow is not performing in the way that it used to perform. Okay, that could mean the diameter of this blade became 10 to 15% less. And so that's a sign. We'll get into some more diameter talk in just a minute. Other things to look for, is by chance, is this blade spinning on your harrow axle, but without the whole axle turning, of course, meaning that sometimes the blades will crack apart here where the spacer was pressed up against and the blade might spin. That's not going to do you any good either. Let's look at some hole punches or center hole measurements. All right, this particular one we see is a double punched square hole blade. In this particular case, it fits a 1-inch axle or 1 1/8 inch axle. Notice the 2 squares inside. And this particular blade is also a double punched axle, but notice it has a square, but it also has a circle on the inside. In this particular case, this blade fits a 7/8 square axle or a 1-inch round axle. And then lastly, we have a single punched blade. Looking at it, it's just a square hole. This particular one fits an 1 1/8 axle. So that's one thing. That's probably what I would say is the first thing you need to look for when replacing that blade of how we can help you. Look for that bore size. Let's look at concavity. Concavity, what's that? Let's just say it's just simply the dish in the blade, which the more aggressive dish, the more aggressive the cut. How do you measure that? All right, take a tape measure. This particular one has a 1.5 inch concavity. That means there's that much clearance between this table and the bottom edge of this blade. Okay, let's look at blade diameter. I like to flip it over. Make sure you got these gloves on, but these things, even after they're used more, they do become sharper and you're liable to nick those fingers. In this particular case, this blade measures 16-inch diameter. All right, but it's a new blade. As we went straight across there at 16, let's say that diameter was 10 to 15% less. That's a good time of knowing when to replace your blade, because again, bottom line is it's not performing like it used to or like you want it to, and you've already exhausted all the adjustments possible. Let's talk about thickness. Okay, a way to check that thickness, of course, is once you have removed the blade from the harrow, get in this hole here, with a tape measure or caliper, whatever your best measuring device you have is, and just eyeball it down there and see what the thickness of the blade is. That's a very important thing to know as well in those 4 characteristics. Now keep in mind, when making your choice on the blade diameter, of the distance between the top of the axle or center of the axle to the bottom edge of the frame, to ensure that it fits in the space that's allowed. At Agri Supply, we carry a large selection of blades in both notched and plain. Notched can also be referred to as cutouts. Plain can also be referred to as smooth. And all of these styles of blades we carry them in diameters from 12 inches up to 36 inches. Thank you for watching today. If you have any further questions about replacement blades or parts, stop by and visit or call any of our friendly and knowledgeable team members, or shop online at agrisupply.com. Agri Supply, it's what's inside.